How's it going, everybody? We are finally here for Aluminum Day. Now, we're going to have two different videos on making aluminum. We're going to have this video where I actually show building, setting up all of the machines, and then I will have a second video that's edited down a lot more of just explaining how to do it. And in that one, we're going to show the other way of doing it, which is with a crucible. And I will explain that a little bit later on. So let's get started here. So what we need for making aluminum is four things. We need a source of carbon, which can be charcoal or coke. Let's get to, that's all carbon. There's the charcoal dust, there's the coal dust, and there's the coke dust. So we're going to use coke dust because I have butt tons of it, which actually we're not going to use. We're going to use regular coke dust is what we're going to use. We're not going to use the tinies. So with that, then we're going to need alumina. And the alumina we have been getting from washing bauxite, which we've got 210 up here. So I'm going to grab 2 stacks of that. Now, when we get to actually processing the bauxite fully, I'm only washing it. I'm not centrifuging it, because there's a way that you can get way more alumina out of it by running it through sulfuric acid. If I hit the right button here, there we go. You can run it through a bath that will get you vitrol of clay, along with 50% chance 5 times at 2 tiny refined bauxite. It'll also get you some hydrogen. And then the vitrol of clay you will run with water. It doesn't have to be distilled. It can be regular water. So vitrol of clay, and it'll give you 2 small piles of alumina dust and sulfuric acid back. So this is 1,700 liters, and you get 850 out. So it's going to take a bunch of them to get you, those 2 tinies, but it will get it for you. What is that? 6? About 6 times, I think that is. And then it's going to give you 2,100 sulfuric acid back. And you need 1050. If I remember correctly, most of the vitrols are lossless on the sulfuric acid. So we'll check that out for sure when we do it. We should be able to put this first amount of sulfuric acid in, run it through, and come and bring it back. And we won't have to give it a supply of sulfuric acid. But we'll get into that later. But that's why I'm not running it through. Now, there is also a way to centrifuge it if you want. If you want extra ilmenite and hematite. So the way I'm doing it is only for extra alumina. There is another option if you want more rutile, if you want it for titanium. But right now we're worried about aluminum, so that's what we're doing. You can also run it through a magnetic separator, which will give you ilmenite and hematite as well without the clay. And the clay is let me get to it electrolyzes into alumina and silicon dioxide, but that's 238 EU a tick. So wait a minute, that's dry clay. That's the wrong clay. Why did that give me the wrong clay? Oh, because I looked at that one. That's why. Okay, this is the right K. So it gives you calcium and clay powder. Then you can do the drying it and getting the 5 alumina and silicon dioxide out of that. So the clay powder is kind of meh to me. I've got it up there, but you know, I could really care less about the calcium out of it. I will probably just do the drying to where I can just dry it and get the alumina out of it itself. But now let's actually get to the machine. Back to this. So then the other thing we need is the alumina, which does work in dust. So we've got that. And now we need these two fluids, aluminum fluoride and cryolite. And if we look at the aluminum fluoride, it only comes out of a smelter, or this is where you would input what I will be showing in the other video, which is where you can do it in a crucible, but it has to be a stainless steel. We'll get into that in the next video. So we're going to need a smelter for this, and we will be getting a full dust out. There we go. And that will be coming out of a mixer with aluminum or alumina. You can't do the fluorine version until you actually have aluminum you can put back into it. We're going to be doing this recipe down here, which is alumina dust and hexafluorosilicic acid, which will give us 8 of the aluminum fluoride out. So then we need to make this one, which comes from a mixer with hydrogen fluoride and any kind of quartz. So we need to make the hydrogen fluoride. So now we go to this, which is the mixer again, and this is sulfuric acid with any kind of fluorite, any color of fluorite under the sun. You can mix hydrogen and fluorine if you choose. There's also this, but that is uranium processing, so you don't want to worry about that right now. And the fluorine you will actually get out of your electrolyzer. You'll get very, very little out, but you will get some. You can also make it in a fusion reactor. You can get it from centrifuging purified fluorine ore. Not sure why it doesn't have a color on it. That is kind of strange. Huh. Because, hold on a minute. Let's see here. I've got... I think Greg changed this recently. So this one, I can sift it, I can shred it, I can smelt it into molten green fluorite. I can centrifuge it down to yttrium and that stuff, and then I get the actual green dust. And the only way to break that down that I can see we can run it through the generifier and get a pile of fluorite. Okay, well, is that the fluorite that we can... No, that isn't either. Huh. I'm not sure what that one is. And we can't do anything with the molten fluorite. Can we do anything with the green one? No, we can't do anything with that. So the only way to break down and get that fluorite is doing exactly what we're going to be doing. So we're going to do that in this one here. I'm going to pipe in sulfuric acid, and we're going to throw some fluorite in there. I have all kinds of different colors over here. Let's see, there's some blue, there's some black, there's some more blue, I gotta fix that, and there's some green, that's the one we're gonna use. We're not gonna be making a whole lot of this, so let me get this all piped up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay. So I have gotten the boiler all hooked up to water. I've got natural gas going to our burning box. We've got the turbine in here. I don't have it plugged up for the return yet. I'll do that later on. And we have sulfuric acid coming in the top with our fluorite here. Make sure you use stainless steel or vanadium steel or gold pipes for the acids. Everything we're going to be working with is going to be acidic, so make sure you've got the right pipes. And before we turn that on, we're going to go to the next step. So the next step, we're actually going to be splitting into these two, which I've gone ahead and set up here with water in both of them. I didn't do the natural gas yet. I'll do that in between for the next step. But we need to split that off because you will notice that on the molten cryolite, we need hydrogen fluoride as well for it. It is hydrogen fluoride, alumina, and sodium hydroxide. And I'm kind of wondering why there's two of this recipe. Oh, ingot. I missed that part. Okay. So, we have sodium hydroxide right here, which we made up from running salt in here when we were making our oxygen and hydrogen for the tungsten processing. So now we're going to put that one in this one, which, what was the amount it needs? It needs 18 of them, and that's going to give you 2880. For the aluminum, you're only going to need 2 liters. So once you make the first batch, you're not going to need to make any for quite a while. So let's just get another one of these in here and stick it in there. And then for this one is where we are making our hexafluorosilicic acid for the aluminum. Yeah, so we need the hexafluoric. Yeah. We need the hydrogen fluoride made in this one, and then we need to put the quartz into this one. So let's go grab quartz. And so you know, if you saved all of your flint dust from when you were using flint tools early on, flint Works perfectly for this. So now we need to get this out of here and into both of them. You'll notice while I was away, I moved all of my burnable things, so we don't have to worry about that. So the output is from the back, and it goes into the top. And for both of those recipes, that is the only fluid that we're going to be having come in. So we're just going to pipe it just like that. I think I just lost one of those down the hole. So now let's get this turned on and get it processing. And I will be right back with you when we're ready to do our next step. Alright, and it just kicked off. It is running our first process of the fluorite and sulfuric acid. We are going to shut this off because I don't have a whole lot of fluorite. By the way, the fluorite I am getting is coming as a byproduct of why do you not show me the other ores? There we go, stone fluorite, Huebnerite, and that's where I'm getting all the green from. Alright, so now we have a solid output, which is calcium sulfate, and we will put that away to deal with later. And basically we can just run it through this stuff here. So we're just going to take our screwdriver for right now, because I keep telling you guys you can do this. Only produce when output is completely empty. Produce whenever there is space. Only accept input on empty. Nope. There we go. That is the wrong one. So this one. Accept input at all slots. Auto output disabled. There we go. So that's the one. Now it won't output again until there's something that I tell it to output, which is what I wanted it to do. So for now we don't have to put a block up there, and we will just take this and go put it in here to deal with at a later date. So now we should have hydrogen fluoride and hydrogen fluoride. The pipes are more on that side than this side, so this one got twice as much, but that should not be an issue. So let's go ahead and turn both of them on, and that will get them going. Double check the water because don't want to blow anything up, even though I just hooked them up. And now while they are heating up, let's take a look at how we're going to have to pipe this one, because this one's going to be a little bit different. So for the cryolite, we need sodium hydroxide and alumina, which means that I need to actually put the alumina in there that I had forgotten. Alright, and it's going to need, it's going to need 2400. So we're definitely going to have to make more for that. I didn't realize it needed quite so much, but it's going to put out a whole bunch of water and then our cryolite. So we're going to have two things coming out of this one. We're going to have to do a quadruple or nanople pipe. Now, when we get the actual aluminum, we will be able to filter the two. For right now, we're going to have to play a little bit, and I will show you guys how I'm going to do that. Now on this one, it is going to be water and hexafluorosilicic acid, so we're going to have to do the same playing around with this one as well. This one only needs 4 liters, so it is good to go. We'll let this one run for now because, well, it ain't going to do anything. But I will get some more fluorite, and we will get that all processed and ready. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I managed to get enough of it to run there. So now I can shut that one off. And so you know, I cut the pipe up here so it couldn't input any more over there. So all of it went over here to this one. And I wanted to show you guys something real quick. I was going through all of the fluoride I had back there and found where I had a bunch of yellow, and that's what I used. But when you're mining, you should also find these gems. So I'm going to take these over and throw them in the shredder so they can get ground up and turned to dust, so we can use them as well next time we need some. Which, by the way, the hexafluorosilicic, I can never say this thing correctly without looking at the name of it. The other acid we are currently making is also going to need very little of it in the aluminum. We're only going to need 4 liters of it. So there's not going to be, this is going to be like a one-time run, and then we're not going to run it for quite a while. Because we got 20 liters of the Cryolite over here, and we've got 6 units, 66,000 liters over here, and we only need 2 and 4 to make aluminum. So we will run a butt ton of aluminum out of this one batch that we've just made, which is probably why people do the other way of doing it, that again I will show you in the next video. I just prefer doing it this way because you're going to need it. So I don't see why doing it the other way is better, but I'm going to show it to you anyways. So our next thing is we have the hexafluorosilicic acid. So we now need to put that in another mixer with alumina, and we only need 9,000 liters of it. And as I said, we've got 6,000 sitting here, so we're going to have to run one more batch of this, and then we'll have what we need for that one. So I'm going to get our next boiler set up here, which, by the way, I have a distillation tower made. We're going to get that started soon, and once we do, we can change all of these over to run off of motors instead of turbines. We are going to be swimming in bronze at that point because we are going to have so much to recycle. I also wanted to point out that there is a way that you can do this without boilers if you choose to go that route. there are single block diesel engines, and you can make ethanol to run them off of. And diesel engines put out right there 16 RU a tick, which is just enough to run one of these mixers. Now, the reason why I haven't gone that route yet is A, I have all this natural gas to get used, and I don't have anything set up to auto make the biomass, because I would need like a melon farm, a cactus farm, a wheat farm, something like that. And then we need either water or some kind of juice or honey. I will be using honey because I have all of those honeycombs from my bumblebees. And then you can just run that biomass through a distillation tower if you choose to, and you will get ethanol, glycerol, methane, and distilled water. Or you can ferment it if you want into methane, or you can distill it in a distillery to ethanol and distilled water. But you need a pretty good load of this to do it, and I figure I will wait and just use natural gas. Bronze isn't hard to get, so setting up the boilers is not a bad option for me right now. So let me get this all piped up for our next one and get everything ready, and we'll be back to do the next stage of this. Alright, we are back. I hope for the last time this time. So I've got everything set up here now. This is our electrolyzer where the aluminum is actually going to go. And you'll notice that I have our 9 units of hexafluorosilicic acid in there, but I've also made us a drum. And that is so we can get the water out of it, because the water's probably going to come out first, which I do have to say I'm quite glad that Greg changed the name on this so it actually says stainless steel drum now instead of just drum. So we're going to bring that over here, and we're going to actually break this out for just a second. Sit that on top of there, and now that should be completely empty. I want to reset it so it can't do that anymore, and there we go. When we get actual filters, we will filter this over to that line, and we won't have to worry about that anymore. Alright, so now, and make sure you're using the stainless steel. It's the one that can handle the acid. Alright, so there we go. Now we have that. And now it needs to go into this machine. And where did I'm going to grab some of this scaffold over here so I don't have to worry about burning them up. It's a nice thing about Greg's scaffold here. I don't have anything turned on at the moment, but you never know when I might turn them back on. Alright, so up. Alright, so now I wanted to show you guys this before I do it. I have these nanopole pipes, And this one here is currently got water and cryolite in it. We're going to run that over to the electrolyzer, and it's actually going to connect over to that machine as well, which will bring this over to this one. That way both of the waters can go in together, and we can have this dump into that pipe, up into this machine, and then out back with the cryolite and into there. And we should have no issue as long as the water goes first out that way, because water can go in a mixer, but I don't believe the cryolite can. Let's see, cryolite is made in a mixer, but it can only go into an electrolyzer, so we won't have to worry about that trying to come into here, just the water. And if the water does come in here, it won't be a big deal. But for right now, we're going to be using a drum, and that'll get our Hexafluorosilicic. Yeah, it'll get that stuff in there. I hate these big long words. And I'm going to go ahead and connect this, which will get the water out of there for us, which it's going to need to run for just a minute because there is a pretty good load of it in there. Alright, so there is no more water in there. So now we only have cryolite in there, and we can connect the output of this one up to that pipe, and then we can run this to the input. The electrolyzer has its fluid input is top, front, or back. Top is the auto, but we're piping it in, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that stuff's a little hot. Don't stand on it like that. We will go over here, and then I'll make one more that'll go right there, and we can go in the back of it. I'm using nanooples because they're cheaper, just in case you were wondering. So there we go. That'll put the cryolite in there for us. And now let's get this scaffold out of here. We won't be needing it any longer. And now we can go ahead and throw our Alumina in there. Get this one started. Now, if you remember, this one is going to do the Alumina plus Hexafluorosilicic acid and give us aluminum fluoride and water. So we will also pipe, that'll be for the water coming out of there. And then the items are going to be coming out through this item pipe and coming in down here to our smelter, which, just thought about it, I set that up wrong. That needs to go over here. The smelter goes in on the top, and then it will give us our other acid out right here on the side, which for right now we will just use a drum, but we will be piping it into the same one, and that way we don't have to worry about going quite as far, or we technically could just go in right there on the side probably, or up on the top, but we'll probably just pipe it into that other, into this nanoople. That's the nice thing about having nanoople pipes, is we can just use this for like a highway that runs through here and all of our fluids go through it. So now we just got to wait on this thing to get done. And while we're doing that, I will show you the electrolyzer setup we went with here. So we're using a dense burning box with a strong boiler, a steel turbine, which, let me go to steam, and I could have used an Invar because we're creating 192 steam a tick, and the Invar can handle 192 steam a tick, but a steel can handle it as well, and the steel one is running at its median, not at its max. So I decided to go with steel instead of the Invar, and we're going to get the exact same 64 RU a tick out, and then that is going to be going into our dynamo here, which is going to be giving us 44 EU a tick. And if we go back and look at aluminum, we need only 16 EU a tick to do it, but this is going to give us a whole lot more, so it can run a whole lot faster, so we can make all kinds of it. Alright, so we've got our aluminum fluoride in there. We can turn that one off and that one on, and now it will heat that up, and all of that should output into our drum that still has water in it. I forgot. Let's go empty the water. It's like, why ain't that going in there? Yeah, you gooferd. It happens. Alright, so water out of there. Alright, it's empty. And we can put this back. Now we can put it on here. Now it's going to empty it into here. And now we can finally get our aluminum fluoride into our electrolyzer here, which we will just, oh, come on, put me on top, not on top of there. We'll put this right on the pipe. We'll fill, look in the electrolyzer, and why you know in there. Molten aluminum fluoride. You're not really, oh hey, you know what? Do that. That'll fix it. There we go. Always open your pipe. Just because you put the drum on the pipe does not mean the pipe is going to open to the drum. Alright, so we now have that in there. Now we can put our alumina dust in there. And actually I was going to use coke, but I just remembered I have a bunch of coal dust here that accidentally got ran that we cannot turn into bricks. So we're going to throw that in there, and we will get it used up first. Alright, and our water's doing good. So now that will run. We're going to get a little bit of fluorine out and a whole bunch of CO2 gas. Now the nice thing about getting the CO2 gas out of this is we can turn around and put it into an electrolyzer, which will give us oxygen, which we need for our roasting, and carbon, which we can use for all kinds of different things. And this one needs the 42 EU a tick. So I actually have in here a complete another setup for another electrolyzer like that we will set up over here in a later video and pipe our CO2 gas out. So we're going to have to turn our electrolyzer around for that. We're going to need to go that direction. So our output is over here on this side. But now, once this thing gets heated up, we will make our first aluminum, which I am going to make a butt ton of. I'm going to grab all this alumina we have, and get it in here and get it ready. As soon as it uses enough of it that I can. I'm going to take this opportunity while we're waiting on this to get done to explain what we're going to be doing with this. We've been making aluminum hydroxide over here from our bauxite, and for that there is nothing you can do with it but put it in a crucible to break it down to alumina, or a smelter to turn it into alumina. So I'm going to set up another one of these smelters over here, and we're going to pipe that in. I will probably do that in a live stream, so when it comes to that point I will let you guys see what we did afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and disable the output on that so we don't have it falling all on the floor. And there we go. We now have our first aluminum. So like I said, we can take this fluorine that we're getting out of here. Once we get 3,000 liters of it, we can mix it with a little bit of aluminum and get our aluminum fluoride to put back in on this side. And we'll keep an eye and see just how much fluorite we have. One of you guys that enjoys math may want to do the figuring and figure out if it's going to be possible to do that without ever making this first step again. But I will leave that to you guys. And I'm going to take this drum now. I'm going to put that right there to catch our CO2 so I can get more aluminum made. And now with the aluminum, you will see that we can actually run that, if we choose to, through a low heat extruder. We don't have to run it through the regular extruder. So for all the things that we need to make, we can do it in the extruder if we choose. And the main thing we're going to be making with it right now is covers. We are going to be making a bunch of these. So screws, aluminum plates will make our cover, and that will go for making our fluid filters, and we will need it for our item filters. We just need some zinc foil to do that, and then we can set up all of our filtering for all of these fluids, and we can start filtering all of our items over there. So we're going to be very busy from here on out doing a whole lot of filtering. Hope you guys are ready for that. We're going to set up the processing. For anybody that's seen my GT Adventure stream series, we're going to set up the processing that I had over there so it can be all automated and I don't end up with weird stuff in weird places anymore, hopefully. But this has been quite a long video. I should have, and I hopefully don't forget, a thing either here at the end or at the point where we talked about the fluorite. There should be a list on the screen of where you can get it other than small ones. Since there are like 6 or 8 different colors now, they come from different places. So to help you guys out, I'm gonna try to make up a list of that and get it into the video for you if I can figure out how to do all that stuff. If I can't figure it out, I'll put it down in the description. So have a good one. Take it easy. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.